Three, two, one.
Hello. I am your host, Kadin,
And I'm your co-host Adam.
and welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered and Rediscovered. It's episode 10, yeah? 10?
11.
11?
11. Because we uploaded last week.
We did upload last week?
Yeah.
Okay. It's 10 or 11, I'm pretty sure. We'll see. Anyway.
We'll find out.
Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. Anyway, today we are
Could
talking...
get sued for that, I think.
Well, fucking my bad. I've never seen the show. I just know that.
I haven't
but
either.
Anyway.
I don't know who owns it.
Well...
It
Don't
doesn't
sue
matter.
us. Allegedly. So today we are talking about the allowance of letting people hit their bottom.
I'm excited.
And I don't even really know where to start off of that. It's something that is very interesting because it's the balance of caring and caring too much for me. That's really difficult because the people that you care about the most are often the ones that fall into the category of you've got to let them figure their shit out. And how do I sit back and watch while life goes really hard and not jump in and, offer to help them back up until it's time. And so for me, I think that's the biggest thing for me. And if you have anything else you want to say before we jump into questions.
That's really interesting because to me, it is the fact that I care that allows me to watch them hit their bottom. Because when I don't care, when there's someone that I'm like, yeah, you're cool, I kind of fuck with you a little bit, but I'm not investing my energy and my time into you, you start spiraling, and I'm going to take a little bit of a step back. I'm going to be like, if you bounce up, I'll fucking meet you somewhere along the way, but I'm not going to go through this emotional strain watching you fuck up to figure it out, right? But when there's someone that I care about and when there's someone that I'm invested in, it gives me the motivation to be like, all right, you don't want to go through this. I don't want to watch this. You have to go through it. So let's start going. Let's start heading. And
Absolutely.
When you hit that springboard to come back up, I'll be here instead of just meeting you somewhere.
For sure. And something else I got off of that from what you were just saying is like when you care about somebody is when it's easiest because like you need to take a step back. It's like I have to protect myself. Like above all else, I have to protect myself. So if you're doing something that's gonna maybe not most likely involve me at some point and overcome me, then I've gotta step back because I don't want to be involved in that.
Absolutely.
And I'll meet you when you bounce back up. Like, yeah, I'll be your first person there. Like, give me a call and I'm always there. I can't go down with a sinking ship though. I've just got to let that bitch sink. And when you come back above water, how you
Absolutely.
doing?
And I feel like over this past year and a half, we've both seen a little bit of like the boy who cried wolf in those situations with people close to us of like, oh, like I'm ready. No, they're not.
No.
They tried. I'll give them that. They tried. And then they fell right back down. So it kind of, I guess, at first, it kind of created more of a distance. But then I reached like a place of acceptance of like, I'm indifferent. I hope you figure it out. But whether you rise or fall, I can't let it affect my life. Right? Like I'll be there for your journey and I'll be there along with you. But I can't. You hit the bottle again, that can't change my week at all. You know what I mean? Like I still have to get up and go to work every day.
Well, I just think you'd think about it a little bit, but all right.
I think about it, but
All right, fair enough.
Can't let it throw out of whack.
Damn, love you too. No, I'm just kidding. I know you, and I know that feeling and stuff, so it's good. Question number one that I have so far is why is it important to you that someone hit a bottom? And then we talked about it a little bit just now, but if you care about someone so much, then how are you going to watch them fall? Like, why would you watch them fall? How would you, how would you like it if, because it's like not. I'll say it. It's short term abandonment in my eyes. It's like, hey, I gotta let you do what you want to do, and hopefully, you'll figure it out, and you'll come back, and things will be good. Um, and not but and when I care about you as much as I do, when I love you as much as I do, I feel like from the outside looking in, before I really got an understanding of it, that was a really hard thing for me to figure out. Is like, okay, yeah, it's enabling. Um, but like you don't understand. Like you don't know. Like, for instance, like my mom or my dad, like they love me very very much, and how are they just gonna stop supporting me or stop helping me out when they kind of know what's going on? They don't have a complete picture, but they know what's going on. So, and on the flip side of that, being the person that's like the one dragging or like asking for support, getting support, it's like, oh, you're done, like fuck you, da 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 da. Like, oh, you don't care about me, you don't love me, da da da. And it's like, okay, well, no, it's not that at all. It's that I love you so much that I
Mm-hmm.
have to let you go for a sec, so you can hopefully figure it out. And then when you get some glimmer of figuring it out, I'll be right there, and I'll love you all over again, and I'll never stop loving you. So, but anyway, so that's kind of how I saw that. And yeah, so the importance, why is it important to you for someone to hit a bottom? And if you have anything else on the whole, if you care, why do you do it? Da da da. Fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to hit their bottom because it unlocks what their full potential could be, right? Like you can skate through, you can skate along life, but that's only going to get you so far. That's going to get you working fast food at the same position for 20, 30 years. You know what I mean? You're not going to see a whole lot of growth. You'll see tiny bit of growth and then going back down and then tiny bit and going back down. And I think that so far as I have seen in life, in order for people to truly understand what they can do, not only understand, but also have the desire and the drive, they have to see what the depths are like.
Mm-hmm.
They have to see whatever, I mean, we could tie it into shadow work as well. But they have to work on understanding themselves and their shortcomings and their where they fall short so that they can start working on those things, getting better with those things, right? For some people, it's loneliness. For other people, it's, I don't know, time management or addiction. But whatever the vice ends up being, most people need to hit the bottom of it before coming back up. And I think that every time we hit the bottom, next time we reach one of those vices, we don't get quite as far down before we start going, okay, this isn't working. We got to bounce back up. And as far as you love me, how could you just stand there and watch? I don't remember who it was, but I heard a quote, and it was like, if you truly love your kids, don't do too much for them.
Mm.
And I've seen that firsthand in my life with little homie. Um, say, um, Nerf guns, for instance, I guess is the thing that comes to my mind. My rule is if you can't cock it, you can't shoot it. Go find something else. Go play with something else. But I'm not gonna do that for you. Um, and so just with situations like that, where it's like, okay, you want to shoot this gun, you want to do this thing. I might have to bleep that out. I really don't know the rules there. I don't know. But anyway,
I think it's fine.
um, if you want to do something, you have to put the effort in to get there. I'll encourage you and I'll hype you up and I'll tell you good job when you get it, but I'm not going to take over and do things for you, right? There are things, as I'm realizing in the little bit of parenthood that I have, there are some things like he's trying to put a Lego dinosaur's leg back on. He doesn't have the dexterity. He'll fight with it for like 5-10 minutes and he's not getting that thing on. So at that point, that's when it comes to okay, you can vocalize, you can come try to talk, but At no point will I ever just jump in and help him. He has to ask. Every single time he has to ask. And when there's instances when it's something that he's done before and I've seen him do before, I tell him no. I won't do that for him. Um because I don't want him to rely on me. I want him to be able to rely on himself. And going back to what you were saying about enabling, when we feel the need to lift someone else's burdens consistently, I think there's definitely a line, right? Sometimes people just need help. Sometimes we just need a little bit of like support, active action. But when we're always there to lift other people's burdens, we are robbing them the opportunity to figure out how to do it. And at the end of that thought, I'm going to go turn the AC down because it's like 80 or 78 in this house.
Okay, well then I guess I'll start going on a little bit about some of the things you said, and you still have the headphones on, so I forget that you can still hear me. There was one episode where he left the room to go do something like that, and freaking I started talking about, oh, the homework from last week. Don't forget that don't think I forgot about it. And I didn't think he could hear me. And he came back in and he's like, so do you want to jump into homework? And I was like, motherfucker. I thought I was going to pull a fast one. Anyway, so one of the things that you were saying, so in the very beginning, you were talking about the start of the beginning, or like the start of it, or whatever. And before you even started talking, I was kind of pondering on it. And it's the foundation for everything. Like, it's the foundation for whatever you want to do after is hitting that bottom. And so when you said that, I was like, oh yeah. And then talking about like not just offering help and things like that. That's really good.
Well, it also leads, I hate guessing games.
Mm,
I don't play guessing games. If you want something from me, you communicate it. I have enough shit to fill up my entire week and then another week. I'm not going to go around guessing how to fulfill your needs and then get it wrong. Maybe you're frustrated and I wasted my time, right? So I think it also kind of goes into that is with that kind of thought process that I have, it also takes away the expectation of someone coming to save you. Like when we got stranded out in the lake, I was like, I can't, if a boat pulls up and it's like, jump on, great. I can't feel my body. That would be awesome. But it's not an expectation that we can carry, because if we have that expectation, we're not swimming, we're not pushing, and we're going to drown. And so, where was I going with that? Oh, shit.
not helping too much or not offering help?
No, I was going with it's okay to ask for help.
Mm,
But from my standpoint, you need to clearly communicate it and be like, this is what I need. Obviously still without that expectation, because there are times like with your car, I couldn't help. I wish I could have, but I couldn't help, right?
yeah. And like no guessing games. So yeah. Um Other than that, like, yeah, that's pretty much what my thoughts were off of all of that. And the beginning, like the robbing the opportunity. Dude, there was a little situation that happened the other day, and I ended up like having a really good talk with someone. And they were talking about something that they were going to have a conversation on, and not wanting to have the conversation because scared of potential outcomes and stuff like that. And I was like, well, do you think this might be like a bottom? Like, do you think this life is still manageable? Like, do you still think that this is something you could continue and get where you want? And if you go through and you manipulate the situation the way you want to, do you think it will still be as do you think it'll still be as successful? Do you think it'll still happen?
Yeah.
Because you're robbing yourself of that bottom.
Well, there's some lesson that brought him there, right? And so if someone comes in and starts manipulating the lesson or the problem, has that lesson been learned?
No, and there's about to be another lesson, and
Yeah,
it
and
might be
it's
more
gonna
harsh.
fucking repeat and repeat until you wrap your dome around it.
Absolutely. And so, next question I got: what are some indications or characteristics that jump out to you when the process of taking a step back starts, like, or needs to happen? So, if you're looking at a certain person, a certain situation, or whatever, like, what is that? What are those? What fires in your brain to be like, oh shit, this might not be something I should continue to pull up?
I think the biggest one, and sometimes it's hard to see, but I think the biggest one is when I get this gut feeling that someone doesn't want to help themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because if in the moment, not long term, but in the moment, there's no hope for you if you don't want to help yourself. No one can pull you out of that. No one can force you out of that. No one can kick you out of that. Maybe they can temporarily, but you'll go back into it, as both of us have seen in our own lives many, many times, right? Um, so I think one of the big indicators is just that gut feeling of like they don't really want to learn from this yet. They don't want to get out of this. Um, and there's another one. I'm not quite sure how to word it. Um, but I think another one that I see is when someone is so focused on just their own wants and desires instead of taking a step back and looking at the big picture of their life, right? When we get so stuck in like that instant gratification, I guess, which is amplified by TikTok, Instagram reels, um, just getting those dopamine hits, right? It's really a trap, but it also bleeds into every other aspect of our life because we're not looking at, you know, doing a shit job for a year, 2 years, whatever, in order to build up to where we want to be. You know, you look at, and I don't know if maybe it's always been a thing, but especially with our generation, you see the willingness to be the coffee guy so you can be a reporter one day, or
Mm-hmm.
be an apprentice doing the shit jobs so you can run your own job someday, or you can walk into a company and be like, here's my journeyman, you know. You see so few people cracking down in high school and getting their welding certificate these days. Just that willingness to bite the bullet in the moment for that big picture. I think that's a sign as well, is when they're so focused on just the here and now. You know, not saying don't. There are times, especially weekends for instance, where it's good to just be in the moment, right? Don't be stressing about bills or what's going to happen during the week. But overall, I think the big picture needs to be the focus.
Absolutely. And the what did you say? So you said the instant gratification. What was the first one? The
Um,
unwillingness to help yourself.
the
Yeah, no,
unwillingness to
you're
help
not done
yourself.
digging. Like this isn't the bottom yet because you're still digging.
Yeah.
And if you want to help yourself, there's so many ways to do it. Like there's so many resources out there in almost any situation. Um, and so if you really wanted it, you would go get it, and you obviously don't want it bad enough. Um,
I think it's not enough to be like, okay, I'm gonna start pulling back a little bit, but I think victim mentality fits in there as well. When you see someone playing the victim and woe is me, it's like, okay, you're not focused on what you need to be right now.
no, no. Mm, yeah. Boy, oh boy, a whole conversation could be had right now. So what do the first? So after those identifying characteristics, traits, whatever, what do the first couple action steps look like to you after identifying you're not helping? but rather enabling.
Hmm. Um, I guess truthfully, a conversation is probably the first on the docket. Um, Being upfront, and if they like it, they like it. If they don't like it, they don't like it, right? Um, say your piece, say your thoughts, and they'll take what they will. Um, but then I think a big next step is, like I was telling you with that girl, just back off a little bit. See what she does. Let her show you how important her relationship, friendship is to her. Yeah, I think. Right?
I
Like
get you.
let her show you how important you are in her life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the same goes, for friendships, especially in this situation. I think that can be a very, very strong motivator when you start seeing someone who's close to you kind of like, I guess, back away. It's a little bit, or maybe not backing away is the right word. I guess that's how it would feel more in the victim mindset. But I think looking at it from like an objective perspective, they're focused on their life, and right now I'm not doing what I need to do. So they have less time for me. They have less time to try to like work through this thing that we've tried working through again and again and again, you know? And so I think that's kind of how it looks from the other side, I suppose. Because you got the the friend, the supporter, whatever, who has started to realize, okay, you need to hit your bottom, right? And I'm gonna let you hit your bottom, and I love you, and I'm here to support you, but I'm gonna let you hit your bottom, and you gotta choose if, okay, I'm gonna start working out of this hole so that I can be back into their life, right? In the way that you want to be. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. So the conversation is first. After that conversation is had, however it goes, whether it be taken positively or negatively, what's next? So do you start easing back communication? Do you cut communication altogether? Do
I
you
think cutting is dramatic unless they pose a threat to your sobriety or mental health or your own life,
mm-hmm.
right? Like, unless they're going so far down a path that you will get sucked in with it. Cutting communication is a little harsh. Excuse me.
Mm.
Um, I think what?
I've been fighting it like so long, and I don't know what it is. The second we turn that camera on, I'm just like, oh.
Right.
But
I think it's the lighting, truthfully. But anyway, yeah. So I think like, see, it's hard because I think it looks different for everyone. I think after that conversation, if the path is continued, there's some emotional distance, right? And that looks different for absolutely everybody. Some people are a little more harsh with it. They're like, all, you know, um, I can't really think of any examples. But I think it definitely varies different from person to person. Um, so I guess just like paying attention to what's different now versus how they normally are, right? And taking a note of that. And if if there's ever a point where you're like unsure, like why are they acting like this? Like that's just a conversation to be had, you know, not necessarily a fun one, but it's just a conversation to be had,
mm-hmm.
and seeking for that middle ground. The other thing is, while this emotional distance is kind of there temporarily, I think it's really important to still show support, right? Like, still hype them up. You're not coming in to help. You're not coming in to solve any problems, but you're still there to support. Or if they need to talk through a scenario, we can talk through it. But for me, at least, there's still that emotional disconnect of I'm just going to watch how this turns out. I have no stake in it. I'm not going to try to push one solution or another.
Okay. Trying to think how I want to word this. I feel a little bit differently about that. Um, when the emotional distancing happens and all that, to be completely honest, like a hype man, you know, when you see him, like for me, if I see him at a meeting or something, going up and being like, "Hey, I'm glad you're here," da 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 da. Yeah, absolutely. Talking through situations would be very. It would have to be. There'd be a very big discretion that I took before, and it's like, okay, so am I talking through the situation with them, or are they looking for solutions? And if they're talking through it, I can talk you through it and I can, say, yeah. Other than that, like, I don't know, unless they have started to show me some sort of sign of wanting to help themselves,
Why?
because at that point, it's for two things. One, it protects me, because then when I let go of this person or this situation, whatever the case may be, it's gonna hurt. I'm not gonna like it. And so if I'm constantly putting myself back into a position where I'm having contact with whatever this might be, it's taking up space in my head that I don't necessarily need it taking up space on.
Okay.
It's yeah, I'm gonna keep you at an arm's distance, and I'm not gonna jump in anymore. I'm still holding on a little bit though, and I think unless, like I said, you really want to help yourself.
Well, I think the consistency is a big like changing factor there because if someone's coming to you with the same problem again and again and again and you're talking it through, very
That is
clearly
true.
they're not actually trying to help themselves, right? And I guess that I guess it goes back to if they're seeking it out or not. If they come to me and are like, "Hey, I'm struggling with this. Like I just need to talk about it or I don't know what to do." I am going to find some kind of story or some kind of lesson to just explain. I'm not going to give any answers, right? People don't like to be told things. They like to figure it out on their own. So, I think trying to lead them down some journey and then I guess the way I see it is once I bring this journey forward, if they choose to take something away from it, great. If not, okay, great. But I used my knowledge and prior experience and gave them the opportunity to try to do something with it.
Okay.
And so, I guess truthfully, there is a little bit of flipping a switch. You know, you tell your story and you just got to accept whatever they do with this.
Absolutely. Okay, now follow up. You do that, and let's say different problem, different conversation, similar idea. And do you still have that relationship, that level of a relationship?
Maybe for a couple times. It really, one thing that I think is really fascinating is so very frequently we don't know what's actually wrong with us until we sit there and we dive into it. So we can see different scenarios with the same core principle, the same flaw feeding it. Does that make sense?
Character defects.
Character defect feeding it. And so I think if, you know, 3 times someone brings to me different scenarios, different problems, and we go through it, we dive through it, and they're just taking the wrong lesson away. Maybe by the 4th time or the 3rd time they bring it to me, I'm gonna be like, look, dude, I'm gonna be 100% blunt. you what you are focusing on, I don't think is the problem. I think that this is what I see. This is the consistency that I see through these stories. And so if you want to work on that, we can work on that. And we can talk through it and we can try to dive into something. But I'm tired of hearing your bullshit. I probably won't say that as directly,
Oh,
but I'm tired of hearing this bullshit that doesn't matter. So if you really want to get to the root of it, great. Otherwise, don't call me with these problems.
you know what's kind of crazy to me as we're having this conversation? I'm starting to realize that I'm leaning towards the see you at a meeting.
Yeah. What's
Uh,
changed?
I think it's just experiences with, certain situations, certain people, whatever. You see them, you try everything you can do to help them, and a month, 2 months, 3 months later, they're still at the same spot. Or maybe, life has thrown them a bone and it's a little bit better of a situation, but it's not anything due to looking into a mirror and fixing any sort of internal or personal issue.
Hmm.
Um, and to be honest, like, this is fucked up to say. I'm gonna say it. I don't fucking have time.
Yeah.
I don't have time to sit here. There are plenty of people out there that want this and want to change and want to better themselves bad enough. I'll go focus on them.
Your time, your time will never be the most important thing in anyone else's life. So why not make it the most important thing in yours?
Exactly. And I I see how being a dick or being blunt or being harsh or whatever hurts. Mm, I also see, you know what? It should. If it does, then it probably should. And if it does, it's not because of what I said. And this is like a very, like, this isn't me putting up this wall of like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna be blunt and an asshole, and then it's not my fault you got your feelings hurt. No, that's not it at all. In those moments when a conversation of growth is trying to happen, if you get butthurt, it's probably because something that was said hit close to home and you had the ittiest bit of a realization that that might be your problem.
Did I ever tell you, probably a month ago now, me and Clydehover had a conversation, and I had never seen him as frustrated as he got during this conversation.
Mm-mm.
And I was so grateful he took a pause during it, and he was like, "This isn't towards you. This is just not something that I've broken apart before." He's very very strongly against marriage, um, and I had a feeling when we were talking, I was just smelling bullshit. I was like, "There's something else to this. There's something else to this." And so we kept diving into it and we kept diving into it and he just got more and more animated. And he wasn't excuse me, he wasn't frustrated because of what I was saying. He was frustrated because of these things that he knew he needed to acknowledge, but there's a reason that he hasn't acknowledged them after all this time.
Mm.
So my question, in those scenarios where you're having, and there are times where they're just a dick and maybe they're not who you should go to for support. But in those moments where you're talking to someone who you can have a radically candor conversation with and you're getting frustrated, are you getting frustrated at them or yourself?
Exactly. And it's like what we would say in the beginning. We haven't talked about it in a couple months, but listen to their intentions and not their words. If their words are hurting me or their words are making me feel attacked or slighted, okay, so now I need to look at their intentions behind it. And were their intentions being a dick? Because that's sometimes the case.
It
Sometimes
is.
people are just dicks, and it's like, all right, I'm not going to talk to you about this anymore. Or was their intention, hey, I really care about you, I really support you, and I'm just gonna be honest with you about how I'm feeling, and if it hurts you in a fucked up way, good.
Yeah, well,
because that's going to be what makes you look at things a little bit harder.
and looking at it from both sides, it's scary having that conversation as a person that has to like call someone they care about out on their shit, because when you when you're in an immature relationship, whether it's romantic, friendship, whatever, situations like that can easily blow up and ruin the friendship. Um, and after a while, I'm able to convince myself, okay, that's a sign to me that it wasn't a friendship that I want to stick with, right? But especially having that happen so much in high school and junior high, that fear gets kind of coded into us. That fear of like, well, and you have high school and you call someone out on their shit in the nicest way you can.
I get you now.
It's not only your relationship with them, it's your relationship with everybody around you, because most high schoolers, in my experience, aren't able to separate their beef and our beef, right? Like, just because you guys have a problem, I can be friends with both of you. If one of you's not cool with that, all right, don't let the door hit you on the way out. But in high school, I mean, I lost all my friends because I didn't get along with two people. And I didn't fight for those friendships, so that is on me. But I would have people that I had spent years talking to, eating lunch with, sitting with classroom, wouldn't say anything to me in the hallway walking past. And so I threw it out the door, right? But then you flip on the other side of it, and I would say if you're talking to someone and you're not liking what they're saying, and you take a step back and you tell yourself that they honestly care about you, 99% of the time I would say there's truth to what they're saying. Because if they're
Absolutely.
wrong, you would brush it off. You
Absolutely.
would know that's not me. There's something that maybe they are seeing something and they're just not seeing it in the right way, and we can have a conversation and kind of hone in on what it is, but you're not going to get frustrated, you're not going to get pissed off unless it's feeding some sort of insecurity or character defect that you know subconsciously you have in yourself.
Absolutely. And doesn't 100% apply, but it kind of does. Well, and it kind of does to me at least. There's the root of all my fears, the root of all my troubles is selfishness and self centeredness. The cause of all my fears is that I will lose something I already have, or I will not get something that I so selfishly demand. And that's something sponsor has been pounding into my head. And so in those moments where they're saying something and it's hurting you, it's like oh well, they're being an asshole and that's not. And you choose to look at this side of things, which might be, oh well, I'm a good dude, like I'm doing X, Y, or Z.
Self justification.
Yeah, self justification, and then you're not looking at the area that they're trying to touch.
I'm
And
curious, I have a question for you. I never thought about this before.
well, let me
Okay.
one thing because I just got to finish this last thing. Um, and then so I don't forget it. So then also, if you're in that conversation, if you're in that radical kind of conversation, and you're on the other side of somebody's honesty, and you're getting upset about it, it can be a emotionally mature conversation on both sides. In that moment, and this is something that I didn't see really until like just now. I hadn't experienced something like that. So I would get so angry. And then like a day later, 2 days later, I'd go back and I'd be like, oh, this is what he was trying to say. In that moment, if you're starting to get, peeved, slighted, just be like, okay, hey, you're obviously trying to tell me something. You're obviously trying to point something out to me. I don't see it. What do you see that I don't? And
Hmm.
I really feel like at least if that question were proposed to me and I was on the other side of it, that would take some sting out of my words. Like I would sit back and I'd be like, okay, so he's really trying to understand and see what I'm saying, and he just doesn't see it quite yet.
No, absolutely, dude. That's so powerful. And it reminds me of a conversation me and Mallory had this past week. Um, we were talking about um, sorry, I gotta be really careful about what I say.
No, you're good.
Um, we were talking about little homie, and just his future, and I just there was something that I was so strongly against, and she's a wonderful mother. She takes care of her kid every single day and would die and would live for her child. And so I couldn't understand. I just couldn't understand where she was coming from. And so I said something very similar. I was like, this is what I'm seeing, and this is how I feel like this should have been approached for the best of him. What am I missing? What am I not seeing? Because I know you would never respond in a way that fucks him over, right? And I think, like, just like you were saying, it opened up the conversation. Like, I felt it in her body. She just relaxed. And that's not something she normally does when we're having hard conversations. Um, but I just felt her relax. And I think you're right. It's because it completely opened the conversation. There was no question. We are looking for a solution. We're looking for something that makes sense to both of us. We're not trying to justify. We're not trying to over explain. We're just trying to find where each other's coming from, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're absolutely right.
And I feel like you even expressed it with Mallory just now, like the being on the opposite side of the conversation. Like I was saying, like it would take sting out of my words. Like I would sit back and I'd be like, okay, so now they clearly know that I'm trying to get something across that they don't see or they're not noticing, and they don't know how to look at it or see it. So now what can I say to help walk them down that path and not give them the answer, but walk them down that path
Mm-hmm.
of getting them to notice it. And to be completely honest, dude, I really wish that I'm going to have to hold on to that and really remember that, because it would help me in so many conversations if I could just, and I think it's a little bit of ego. I don't want to seem dumb. Like, I don't want them to think that I don't know what they're talking about or whatever, just that,
Yeah.
whatever it might be. So I'm not going to ask a stupid question. And to be honest, that's not a stupid question at all. It's a very caring question.
I think the only stupid question is the one you have to keep asking,
Okay, yes, or the one you don't ask, but yes,
or
yes,
the one
yes,
you don't
yes.
ask. I'm really glad you bring that up though, because that leads into the question that I was going to ask you a second ago. If if we, with every
I'm
fiber of our
honestly
being,
stunned you remembered that question. I was waiting to just it be forgotten.
me
But
too, actually. But
okay,
if with every fiber of our being we believed that making mistakes was okay, do you think we'd ever feel the need to justify our actions?
okay. So if every fiber of our being we knew that making mistakes were okay, do you think we'd ever feel justified, or
We'd ever
we'd
feel
ever
the
feel
need?
the need to justify our actions?
Take out social pressure, I suppose, because sometimes you do have to answer to a superior,
Yeah,
explain a situation.
honestly, no. I don't really think I would, because I'm looking at certain things that I would do to justify actions. Like the first thing that jumps to mind is like, oh, I fucked something up at work and I don't want them to either like know it was me or whatever. It's much easier just to say, hey, I fucked this up.
I drilled that hole at the wrong angle, and now you got to spend 30 minutes fixing it.
Yeah, so like I fucked this up. There's been one thing that I did not admit to that I maybe should have. Um we'll talk about that later cuz I'm not saying it on air. But anyway, it wasn't like anything super egregious socially. It was just a very big professional negligence that I took. Anyway, um
Kind of worried you were like wiring a building.
uh, no.
Oh boy.
Anyway, so but no, so like I don't think I would feel the need, because I wouldn't need to be worried. Like I wouldn't be scared of their reaction, or like, or looking silly, or just the ego. Like I don't know. I don't feel like, and honestly, like earlier this week, this is kind of off topic, but it just like solidifies the emotional maturity that I have started to practice and the spiritual fitness that I've obtained in this moment. It can wane or wax. But anyway, there was a guy earlier this week at a meeting, and I had done something that had kind of crossed him. I kind of not necessarily embarrassed him, but I stood up in a group of people and kind of discredited him a little bit, and that's not cool. And there's also some things that had been going on that I didn't necessarily enjoy or like, and there were a few of us that felt the same. That doesn't matter though. And he called me out at the meeting, like before the meeting, but at the meeting, he called me out in front of a room of people. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like, how do I handle this? Because before, I 100% would have just dodged it. I would have been like, oh, dude, like, yeah, that was messed up. My bad, whatever. Or, dodged the fact that I was maybe saying something else while he wasn't around. Like, I would have just been like, oh, yeah, I don't know who told you that, but that's not true. I would have just lied to, like, save my face and save the uncomfortability within myself. And I didn't. I straight up said, hey, hand up, my bad. That was wrong of me to stand up like that and discredit you. And that's not okay. And I can see how that would upset you, and I would be upset as well. And to be honest, the reason why I did it was I felt that my toes were being stepped on and that I was being encroached upon. Something that I selfishly wanted was going to be lost, and I got upset about it, and that's not cool. And I'm sorry that that happened and that I did that. I would have never said anything about me being upset. I would have just said, "Oh yeah, sorry, my bad,"
Yeah.
and I stood over. And then the other stuff is just like, yeah, I can see how you feel that way, and I'm very sorry for the part I played in that and stuff. And I gave him a hug, and it was good.
Oh yeah, I think
And
it's really
like
funny how you talked about adding radical candor to the episode list, and that's kind of what this has turned into.
a little bit, yeah, we talked about that before the episode, and that's why I gave that little smirk earlier when you said it. But yeah, no, it's been something. We'll make it a future episode, so I don't want to harp on it too much. But radical candor has changed, honestly, and I don't say this lightly. It's changed my life. It's changed the way I have relationships. It's changed the way I have friendships. I never could have imagined that I would have somebody that I was as close to you as I am. Like, I friends were always a thing, tight friends were always a thing. There were always things that were looked past, not addressed, or whatever. Like, I know just as much as you know that if one of us has an issue, it will be talked about. And it's not to throw stones, it's not to cause problems, it's just because
It's to
either one
love,
of us
grow, and learn.
love, grow, and learn. We don't want to feel it anymore. We don't want to carry it anymore. We don't want it to lead to future things, or it just needs to be addressed. And like, it's love, grow, and learn. That sums it up really good. So no, it's very important to me. And so I'm really glad that you brought it into my life and that I can start to think about it and practice it a little bit. And it's incredible.
Unpaid promotional. If you haven't already, go read Radical Candor by Kim Scott. I lost my copy, but it is an amazing book. Absolutely fabulous. And like Kadin said, completely life changing. 100% life changing.
Damn, I didn't think I was gonna cry today, and I got real close there for a second. So we're gonna bounce off of that and bounce into a question. Next question. After taking those first steps, so the emotionally distancing and the conversation that needs to take place, what feelings do you face, and how do you process and deal with those feelings while still continuing to push forward the process with the process?
What do you mean by what feelings?
So basically the way I thought about that when I was asking it or typing it out was, it's not necessarily easy. It kind of goes back to the first one where it's like when you care about someone, and it is when you care about them and things. Because if you didn't, you just wouldn't do it. That first little bit when you're thinking about them and you don't want to reach out to them, when you're wondering if they're okay and you don't know, and like those sorts of things. So for me, the feelings would be like um hurt, obvious, fear, um what's the word for questioning, like uh debate, like questioning whether or not I made the right choice is basically what I'm trying to say in that. Like, did I do the right thing? um and just the what if they never figure it out? Like, what if
Yeah,
I just have to cut this person off completely?
I think I'm hesitant saying this on the air, but it's the truth, so I guess we'll say it.
Oof.
Very truthfully, I have that switch. I don't worry about, I don't get afraid if you're gonna figure it out. You're either gonna figure it out or you're not, and it's gonna suck if you don't. Like if 20 years down the road you're not working on figuring it out, it's not gonna suck if you don't figure it out because perfection doesn't exist. There's no such thing as having it figuring out
But if you're not working a
if you're not
path,
working on it, right? If 20 years down the road you're not working on it, that sucks. I lose my best friend, that sucks. But I still got to work on figuring my shit out, right? So that fear and that worry very truthfully doesn't exist to me. Um and what was the other thing you said? When you were labeling emotions, there was one I really wanted to address.
fear, hurt, questioning whether or not I made the right choice,
Oh, yes.
the
The
contemplation.
questioning. That's something, and obviously it goes back and forth. It is not like a cemented in thought process, but I try really hard not to question if I made the right decision. I try to question if I made the best decision I could in the moment. Because I
Mm.
mean, in life, we get these problems where there is no right answer. There is no like perfect answer that'll put you to the moon. There's a good answer that might cost you a lot. There's an okay answer that might cost you a little bit less. And then there's going to be the easy way out that costs you nothing but your future, right? And so I try to reshape that same thinking to that I do the best that I know how to do in the moment. And there's always going to be something we get wrong, right? So next time I'm approached with this, next time I'm approached with this decision, what can be done differently? You know, how can I adjust? But I think going on with the frustration is definitely. I think my emotions generally go frustration, a sense of betrayal, very self-centered sense of betrayal, and then acceptance. It's pretty linear. Not linear. It's pretty consistent going through that pattern. Um, there's some frustration of like why is he not getting this? Why is he still texting these girls? You know. But improvements have been made. Improvements have absolutely been made. So there's a little bit of frustration, a little bit of like I'm tired of having this conversation. I know I've had that conversation with you before of like I feel like I'm hearing the same thing again and again, and I don't have anything else to say to you. Um, and then if the spiral kind of continues, truthfully, it turns into a little of betrayal. Like, I mean, and it's fully victim. Like, I don't think there's any other way to label it, but it's like, okay, now I got to do all this shit myself. Now I don't have someone working on themselves. I have someone sitting and living in their shit, you know? But that, not productive. There's no point in thinking like that. It doesn't do anything. Like I said, it's 100% victim. So once I start kind of getting over that, excuse me, Jesus, reaches that point of he's gonna do what he's gonna do, and I hope that he makes the best decision for him. But I can't control that, you know. I have no say in that.
Mm.
I can support, I can love, and that's about it.
have I told you yet? I fucking missed the table. Anyway.
Just a couple times.
Yeah, I missed the table. It's okay though. Like we'll figure it out. And if I really missed it that much, I'm sure there's something that I couldn't.
The table might show up at my apartment here soon.
Bro, there might be, honestly.
Just not glass. There was glass on my floor for a week.
We'll figure it out. So no. Lost my train of thought. I shouldn't have said that. So really, I got it. So when you were talking about feelings and things, and there was really the only one that you were talking about was the victim. The now I have to do it on my own, and it being stemmed from being a victim. And I kind of realized, like, does having any feelings one way or the other do me any good? Like, it's a natural thing to have feelings, and I can't necessarily control my feelings. But it doesn't. Well, no, but I can't control my feelings, and it doesn't really do me any good to sit here and think about them and dwell on them and feel them. And like, yeah, feeling feelings is good in this situation. In my opinion, it wouldn't be doing me any
I
good.
just had a thought. I think that in a situation like this, not to like try to dehumanize, but the feelings are either going to be bad for you or bad for them. Because if you get super excited, get super hyped up, oh, they're going to do it, they're going to get it together, and they slip on a banana peel again, then you're hurting. Then you built yourself up, you hyped yourself up, right? But exactly, you have this expectation. But if you have the expectation, the negative, and they slip on a banana peel, you can't be mad. Your expectations were met, right? But what were you saying before they slipped? Were you saying, oh, you won't do it, you're going to fall again? Or even if you were hyping them up, it's half-assed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like either the positive or the negative, it's not productive. And you can feel those emotions, you can have those feelings, but I think in a perfect world, approaching that conversation just with that complete acceptance, just with that complete, he's going to do. He's going to do whatever the fuck he wants to do. Bro, I started thinking about, apparently I start at 5, I got to be in, have we been saying cities in the podcast?
No.
Okay, I'm about to be, I got to be 25 minutes south at 5 in the morning tomorrow. And I don't think it's going to be an off at 1 type day.
Oh, boy. Oh.
So I think that's what got me tired.
Hopefully, freaking, I get my background checked tomorrow. I'm T's and P's. Harry Potter, come with me now. So yeah, and it's like the expectation and all that, and the feelings going one way or the other. It just because when you said that it would hurt them, you explained it and it made sense. Honestly, like the way I kind of was thinking about it, they don't freaking know one way or another. Because like I'm not necessarily, I guess that was in my mind of not talking to them. If I don't have a relationship, they don't know how I'm feeling. Now if I see them around, that might show on my face, so that's not good. I just don't think it's worth the time or energy. Like that's a situation where I have to just take emotion and feelings out of it and just be methodical and logical and just deal with whatever arises when it arises. It doesn't do me any good to sit and think and feel all of those emotions because what is it? I'm straight either way. Like I'm going to stay straight either way.
I think there's a distinction that could be made there. It isn't beneficial for you to bring those emotions to the table. But if you try not to feel those emotions, they're not gonna go away. And are they gonna explode in your head, or are they gonna explode at the person that is bringing this added stress and these added problems to your life.
That is very true. That is very true. I didn't think about that. Like, am I gonna end up blowing up on them? And not, I wouldn't call it a blow up. I've had some negative interactions with some people though, because of feelings that I have built up and held on to. So I don't know if that's necessarily the best thing to do. Which then I guess the best thing for me to do is to process them. So to feel them, label them, and figure out either how to like deal with them and them pass, or if there's some other course of action that needs to be taken, whether it be like a conversation with that person or whatever it may be, then obviously going down that road.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, it's been an hour and 6 minutes.
Yeah, I'm thinking because I have an
Okay,
hour
good.
less today and a
I
checklist.
I thought I still had 2 questions. This is last one, so this is perfect
Yeah.
timing. We identified the first couple steps that start the process. Are there any other steps taken after that? So you conversate, you emotionally distance, and you go from there. Are there any steps after that? And if not, how do you handle the journey of building them back up, and what does that look like?
So I think the only other, obviously a change in situation, but I think the only important step is reaching that place of acceptance in yourself. I think that's all that matters at that point. And as far as building themselves back up,
Pause 1 second, sorry. The place of acceptance of whatever way it goes. We're golden.
yep, whatever way they can go up, they can go down, but we're straight.
Absolutely.
But as far as
Building back up.
the building back up, you don't. It's not your job. Your job is to support. Your job is to be there. But I'm not. When you have crumbled down and if I go and build your foundation, the second I walk away, you're gonna fall again.
I should have seen that coming.
So it's brutal, and I built my journey by myself. I started it, I hit that bottom, I came out of it by myself very shortly after I connected with Clyde. And so for me that's how it is. For me that's because in order to coming from the outside, the person supporting, in order to wanting to mend that emotional distance, it's on you to prove it to me. You get a good week, and I'm not ready to jump in the pit with you. You got to show that this is something that you really want, and this is something you really want to build on and expand.
Okay, so hold on. Sorry, I went space station for a second. With the building back after the week, so is that a week after the emotional distancing happens, or is that a week after there's a sign of some strive for personal growth out of themselves?
Strive for personal growth, but a week was just a number thrown out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no consequence to it.
Like
Yeah,
time frame.
but once they start like really clicking it in, just because you tell me you do doesn't that's what I've learned this past year. Just because you tell me that you're locked in and you're ready to go doesn't mean you're going to be a tattoo artist. You can still never practice, right? To throw a little bit of shade out there. But you got to prove it. I'll be there to support and love you, but if you truly want like me in the nitty-gritty, me in the trenches with you, you have to prove it that emotional tax on my day is worth it. Not to be a dick, but I am giving you my brain power. I'm giving you my emotions. I'm giving you my support.
Going back to valuing your time.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm giving you my time. And if you fall off again, or maybe don't want to do this thing and instead want to do this, that's fine. But if I spend 6 months working with you and then you throw it out the window, maybe in the long run I didn't, but in the moment it feels like I just wasted 6 months. You know what I mean? And maybe when you pick it back up, you'll take some of those lessons. But I'm not here to do that. I can spend that time investing in myself, you know?
Damn. You took like my not my favorite part. Like you took one that I like had a lot of thought to and was just like, yeah, fuck that. I should have seen it coming though because yeah, it's absolutely you're absolutely right and I don't disagree. Um for me it was the acceptance, the what is it, what is there any if there's a next step, what is it, and if not, whatever. Going with the acceptance, yes, because at the end of the day, no matter what happens, I have to put myself first. So I have to put, in my case, my sobriety first. And if I think something is jeopardizing my sobriety, or if I think it will lead me down a road where I might become a little bit spiritually sick, I can't associate. Um, so the acceptance is huge, and I also feel like that would handle the feelings, like those feelings and processing them and all that. It's acceptance of the fact that no matter what happens, you will be okay. And if they get it, fantastic. And if they don't, hopefully they get it in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So that would kind of put to bed all those feelings, and it would also be in a very healthy way in my like in my viewpoint, because if I just accept it, it's not me shoving them away, it's not me not feeling them, it's not me not dealing with them, it's not me ignoring them, it's just me agreeing that like yeah, they're there and I understand it and I've labeled them and now I've accepted the fact that whatever happens, I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah.
So and then the building back up, not my jab. um Yes, not my jab. I think what I was kind of thinking about it though is, so say you've seen some growth, right? So say you've seen some there's a fire. If they reach out for, a ride, or if they reach out for, and not a ride to like some whatever, but like for me, like a ride to a meeting, or like a ride to the grocery store to get some food, or whatever the case may be. Um, do I do that? Like, is that something that I support? In my mind, yes, I would. It would take, like I said, seeing some growth in things. After that, I'm ride or die. Like, not okay. I can't say that. That's severe. I am your biggest fan. I will say that I'm your biggest fan. Like, if you need gas in a car, I'm not gonna fill your tank or do anything outrageous. And obviously, if it's like every week, then that's not sustainable. But like, if you need gas in your car, I'll go put $30 in your tank,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll.
I need gas in my car.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm not working right now, pal. So, hopefully that changes tomorrow. Anyway, but yeah, no, like you know what I mean. So like that sort of stuff, and then the lines. If they need a place to stay, you're not staying with me. Like if it were you, yes, I would let you stay with me. Um, there are very, very, very few people on that list though, and so if you need a place to stay, if you need like, you know, jobs, like I'll bring you to job interviews and I'll, support you in the parking lot and things. Like I'm not going to write your resume.
Support.
I'm not going to, yes, support. At this point, I am willing to be a support.
Yeah, that's not what I meant.
Okay, well, I don't know.
You never had a pre-interview
Okay, well, yeah,
little toppy?
yeah, for sure. That wasn't generally done in the parking lot though. That was generally done either on the way there or at the house. So, but yeah, no. So like that, all of those things. Like after that moment of you earnestly wanting this thing and earnestly seeking whatever it might be, I'm your biggest fan. Um, when I start to see any sort of indication that that is a false narrative, yeah, no. And to be completely honest with you, I'll text him. I'll give him a phone call and say, "Hey, I can't be here anymore." There's nothing else to that though. I'm not. I am texting you. I am calling you. I am saying, "Hey, I'll see you around. When you want it, let me know." And that is that. And when you want it again, say it was a week of word I'm looking for, not methodical. Anyway,
Is that the bike or the wind?
I think it's the wind. Oh yeah, we're getting a
hell
storm,
yeah.
dog. Anyway, so like that pretend week might be a pretend month this time, a pretend couple months.
Mm-hmm.
And burn me once, cool. Burn me twice, burn me 3 times, and that's that. I'm not. I don't care. Okay, I can't say I don't care who it is, because if it were you, I would be there. There are maybe 3-4 people on that list that I would still be there for. And then after that, you got to figure it out on your own, because clearly you come in and you stay around long enough until life gets a little bit more comfortable again, and then you go right back to whatever you want to do. So I'm done trying to make your life a little bit more comfortable again. You're just going to have to figure it out. So, but anyway, with that, do you have any final thoughts?
No name drops.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel really good about that. I was realizing that too throughout. We did really good today on that.
Oh yeah.
So episode 1 without any name drops. The streak is at 1. So hopefully next week we'll make it 2. Maybe we'll make like a little sign and put it under Bubbles Lisa or some shit. But anyway, So yeah, no, I think this was a really, really good episode. I got a lot out of it. That conversation we had in the middle was arguably my favorite part. And so yeah, I'm excited for next week. And
hell yeah.
thank you again for joining us for another episode of Unfiltered and Rediscovered, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
That's hot.